It's like, what were you doing with my drapes? The drapes that were hanging in the apartment. I never got the answer to that. Hi, this is Kari from Sky Properties, and today I want to talk to you about COVID rent relief. It appears that there has become a fine line between asking for rent and harassing your tenant. There are many people that haven't paid rent legitimately because of COVID, and there are some tenants that are usually the more sensitive ones that perhaps were not affected by COVID and are still getting rent relief. Those seem to be typically the ones that are claiming harassment. Most of us have received their rent from the state for tenants affected by COVID by now, or at least most of it. And there are still some that are out there that have not been paid. Checking up on the status is important because it pays our mortgage, it pays our trash bill, it pays our property taxes. And there seems to be trouble between the landlord and tenant about when it becomes harassment and when they're just trying to figure out, can I pay my mortgage this month? From the very beginning, Sky Properties has supported these tenants that couldn't pay rent, and we have figured out other ways to pay our bills or to not have income and also take care of our expenses. Maybe that meant dipping into our reserves or reducing expenses for some people. Now, most people are getting back to work. You see a lot of people posting jobs, and owners are wondering when they're going to collect their rent. And it's an important factor in any business. You have to have, in order to pay expenses, you have to have income. So the problem is the property manager or the on-site manager asks the tenant for rent, and the tenant goes, "You're harassing me." And the property manager goes, "No, I'm working with you. I've been working with you. I helped fill out the COVID paperwork with you." It wasn't one-sided just on your part. It was a dual action, and we supported that 100%. And now we're asking you what the status of your rent is. And some of the reactions we've heard is, it's not my problem. Rent is not my responsibility. And that is a crazy response to your rent is due. You have to pay your rent. No, it's not my responsibility. Where does that even, how did the city of LA manage to get that into people's brains and minds? It's not my responsibility. You're not for your rent's due. So once you hear the word "you're harassing me," that came out of the tenant booklet 101, and you want to get some help. There's some resources out there that can help you. You can call into AGLA or one of the local apartment associations. You can refer to what our LA City Mayor and Governor put out as the Tenant Bill of Rights where COVID is concerned, and that lays out who's responsible pretty clearly. Even though the state is helping people pay their rent, that doesn't actually make them responsible for paying any particular person's rent. And so you want to refer to these resources because you don't want to step into the position of harassing someone, yet it's still important you to find out where your finances are at. So do your research before going a bit further. As soon as you hear that word harassment is my advice.